hop right into it. What you guys got?
I know we get fixated sometimes on the deep ball with Jared, just going through his career trajectory, but it's really been connecting a lot lately. I think probably going back to maybe the Minnesota game when DJ got back, and we saw a continuation of that this week. What would you attribute maybe some of the success with the deep passing game in these last few weeks, and how sustainable do you believe it is going into the stretch run here?
Sorry, what does that say?
This is a Dave Fipp gift, special people, special teams.
Fipp got you gifts?
Yeah.
Guess who our favorite coordinator is?
Yeah, clearly.
He appreciates our questions, Ben.
No doubt. Yeah, deep ball. I think a lot has to do with DJ's back. He's healthy. He's making some big plays for us. I mean, shoot that first third down of the game last week, 3rd and 10, comes down with that. That's a hard catch. And that's something that we highlighted about him from his time in Jacksonville that really attracted us to him. And so we saw it in training camp, and then we got derailed a little bit when he got dinged up, and now he's back, he's healthy, and so he adds that dynamic to us. We got J-Mo's been able to get over the top of the defense a couple times, and we were able to hit him once, and we haven't hit him another time, so we feel good about our ability to throw it deep when presented with those opportunities. Jared's done a nice job. It's chemistry with those guys, and it's trust in them that give them a chance, they'll come down and make a play. So I think you're seeing that come to life over the last couple games, and we'll see if we can continue that trend.
A little bit bigger picture look at that, and obviously some of these elements are outside of your control, but clearly Brad believes in Jared's ability to throw the deep ball based on roster construction. Last year with Rashad and Tyrell Williams, their signings, then this year in DJ and the drafting of Jameson Williams. Is there more, I guess, consistency in Jared's deep ball game than maybe what we previously thought about him based on how he was used earlier in his career?
It's hard for me to compare him back to his days in LA, but no, I felt like he's been capable of making any throw, second level or deep, and like I said, it really comes down to us getting past the guys. Do we like the matchup on the outside, or we feel confident we're going to get over top the safeties? And then, like I said, he's got the more reps we get with these wideouts and see them come down and make a contested catch, the more trust he has to go ahead and pull that trigger. I would say he probably could have done it a little bit more last game too. There were a couple of other opportunities, so we're continuing to encourage him to do that, and really starts in practice for us where we're getting in that groove.
Chicago's dealt with a ton of injuries on defense. They're playing a lot of young guys in the secondary. But I think one thing that jumps out is the takeaways. 21 on the season, I think 6 in their last 2. Is that a really aggressive defensive backfield when you watch them on tape?
You can tell that they're being coached to get the ball out. They're punching at the ball, whether it's a run play or run after catch. And then they've had some really good positions in terms of these interceptions where they're playing a little bit more zone coverage, so they got vision on the football, and if you're not precise with your accuracy, then they're able to make you pay. So it certainly has helped them. They play hard, man. Shoot, they're all over the place. Same thing we saw the first time we saw them still shows up. I mean, Buffalo, that game was close until really late in the game, They've had a few of those where it comes down to the fourth quarter, one-score games, or it really comes down to the fourth quarter, teams pulling away from them. But we're expecting a dogfight here this week, and just like every week, as long as we take care of the football on offense, we'll have a chance. You saw that last week against Carolina, that second drive, that fumble that really took a lot of air out of us offensively and as a team too.
Jared's now up to 261 straight passes without a pick. Is that something you guys talk about? You don't talk about? Jason?
No. Like I said earlier this year, there's some things we highlighted for him: the pocket presence, the taking care of the football, and those are things we harp on every week, and he's aware of it. No one wants to throw interceptions. Hopefully, we'll go another 261 without one. So, let's see.
J-Mo, he's got the one catch. I think he's got 5 targets in 4 games. Like, you guys are deep at receiver. Justin talked about it with just all the guys there. But do you have to maybe make a concerted effort to try to get him the ball here or there, a wide receiver screen, something short, maybe just get him involved? Is it a worry that maybe frustration starts to build in with a guy like that when he doesn't get a ton of snaps or a ton of opportunities?
I mean, we try to work in all of our playmakers. He's certainly in that group, but I think DJ's shown that he's going to make big plays for us. St. Brown has been our most consistent player over the course of the season. Would be getting a lot of criticism if we're not giving him the touches. Our backs are really good players when the ball's in their hand. So I mean, we have a lot of talent spread out. Each week, guys have plays in the game plan, and it's a matter of whether the situation, the defense allows us to get it to our primary receiver or not. So no, I don't think we're pressing to force the ball to anybody. We'll continue to do what we've been doing, and if that means he gets a 100-yard game this week, then great. But I'd like all of our skill players to have that, because really, honestly, they're dangerous like that. All of them are. It's just it's hard to dictate that, and especially with how the game went last week. Earlier in that second half, we had to get off our game plan. We left a lot of our good plays on the sheet just because we're down by multiple scores, and it really forced our hand to start chucking the ball a little bit.
Building on Tim's question a little bit, J-Mo's obviously known for his ability to take the top off defenses, but the other part of that with his speed is taking some of those short routes, those crossers and slants, and turning 5 into 60 in a hurry. Has his route tree been limited at all? Is he's kind of being, I guess, incorporated and introduced to the playbook, or is that expanding as you go in?
It's growing every week. And so, we know that he can run, but we're getting a feel for, we're having Jared see the breaks so that he can anticipate the throws. So it takes a little bit of time, and he's been great. He's working his tail off. Every special teams period, those two are getting extra reps. So like we said a few weeks ago, it's a race right now to see how far we can push it over the next few weeks.
So many guys on this offense this year have gotten kind of their moments. But one guy that hasn't been talked about a lot is Justin Jackson. I'm just curious what you think about him as a player and a person coming into this situation and now starting to really thrive.
Yeah, no, he's I'd say with all 3 of those backs right now that have been active for us over the last few weeks, they all play a key part. I know Deuce does a heck of a job coaching them up. A lot of trust in all 3, no matter what the situation is. But he brings a little bit different dynamic because he's shifty like Swift, but he can still do some of the things that Jamal's really good at too. So he's a good blend between the two, and trust with him in pass protection. Trust with him route running. He's done some really nice things in the run game as well. So we feel really good about his role for us right now, and we'll continue to push that along.
Those tight ends too. You guys got 10 touchdowns from your tight ends this year, and obviously when you traded TJ, the expectation maybe you weren't going to get as much from that position, but Brock and Zalster last week. I mean, are you really happy with the production that you've gotten from those guys and as a collective unit after the trade?
Yeah. It's one of those things, the more tight ends we get in the game, we kind of dictate what personnel they're going to be in. So what you saw last week is we were encouraging a little bit more base defense at times, or I believe it was his third touchdown maybe, we got him into goal line defense, and got them in less DBs out there. And so we get good matchups like that. Shane did a nice job executing the plays, and one of them was off script, and he just kept it alive and found a soft spot in their end zone, and Jared was able to find them. So have a lot of confidence in those guys that when their number's called, when we feel good about the matchup, that they'll come down and make a play.
One of the things I really like about your offense is the incorporation of the fake blocks, or the selling of the blocks that lead into routes. I'm just curious, how have you seen that evolve, I guess, in offenses around the league? Is there a coach in your past that kind of emphasized that element to offense? Because it seems like it's become a really successful part of play action offense.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's really more based on the opponent, probably more than anything, how quickly their force players are triggering. That's something we gauge over the course of the week. not to get into too much detail, but some weeks it's more effective than others. But our tight ends have done a heck of a job in the run game holding up, so that creates that illusion and helps those plays open up for us.
Talked about the run game a couple times recently, kind of continuing to struggle here. When the inconsistencies, I know most of the time you say it's, one play here, one guy missing assignment here, but when the inconsistencies, I guess, become a little bit more consistent, is there a moment where you kind of have to go back to the drawing board, or is it just kind of hammering home the basics, I guess?
Yeah, and I think that's been Coach's motto all week, is we have to, as a team, get back to the basics. And for us on offense, that really speaks more for our running game. Less so schematics, more so technique, fundamentals, our core values, who we talked about in the springtime in training camp, our identity, what we want it to look like on tape. And so we always place a high emphasis on our run game. That's where our game plan always starts. But certainly over the last couple of weeks, I think I had the numbers for the guys on yesterday, was the last 2 games we've had as many negative runs, minus yardage runs, as we had the first 5 games of the season. So we're not even getting our guys back to the line of scrimmage and allowing our backs to potentially break tackles or get on the post safety. And that's where early in the year those guys were so dangerous, because they were making guys miss at the second and third levels and getting these 50-yard runs. And it takes everybody. It's not just the O-line. Tight ends play a big role in that. Our receivers got to continue to do some dirty work. And then us as coaches, we got to look in the mirror as well and making sure we're putting our guys in the right positions. Because I can tell you right now, there's a few times over the last couple of weeks we're not putting our guys in good spots. So we're addressing that, and we'll make sure that we are sound and giving them a chance.
I can't remember if it was Frank or Taylor who mentioned it, but they said that Penny is such an athlete that you guys scheme for him. You scheme for a right tackle. I'm just curious, without giving away any huge secrets, but what does that mean, and how unique is that to have a player up front that is so athletic and can do so many different things, that you can actually scheme to a right tackle? That just seems odd. Maybe people don't understand.
Yeah. Probably more so early in the season, we were doing probably a little bit more of that, but his ability to move, he can run as well as anybody we have on offense, not just the lineman. You get him out in space, and he's a dangerous man. So that's probably what Frank is talking about more than anything, is he can pull, he can get on the perimeter. We love him on our screen game, because he's able to redirect with the quickness and block little guys that way. So no, there's certainly every week there's things we have in that are specifically one-way plays just to highlight what he does.